Hi all, Poker Face is back! And season 2 is still as fresh and whimsical as its first season, and also chock full of cute notes and Easter eggs. Let's have a look at all the cool stuff from the first episode. The formula hasn't changed, it's still an inverted detective story a la Columbo, where we see the murderer to begin with, and then we see how Charlie catches them. The show still uses the same credits that are similar to Columbo's credits too. The first episode takes us to a family of now grown-up 90s child stars and basically leans into all the stereotypes with relish. There's the controlling parent in charge of the children's earnings, a la the Culkins. In this case, supercharged, with a really evil mother. There's the whole child actor that has to have a twin in order to comply with acting regulations, a la the Olsen twins. In this case, supercharged with quadruplets. The situation with the invalid mother trapped in an upstairs bedroom, reliant on a disgruntled relative as a carer, of course brings to mind the classic film Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, with two dames of Hollywood, Bette Davis and Joan Crawford. Said horrible mother makes fun of her daughter's Amber's creations, saying that she would be the Gauguin of Etsy. Now, Paul Gauguin is a pretty successful painter. He was even moderately successful in his own time. Amber would be lucky if her works were that well received, so I'm not sure it's the Barb that the Kaczynski mom thinks it is. Maybe it's in relation to his many still life paintings that might be considered as similar to Amber's work. And lest we forget, her name, Norma, and her headwear is similar to the name and headwear of another movie great, Norma Desmond, from Sunset Boulevard. The glimpses that we get of the 90s show itself are also delicious. It's called Kid Cup Nights, and the styling is extremely reminiscent of mid-90s shows, and I think definitely of definite flop Baywatch Nights. Much like Kid Cup, Baywatch Nights also apparently took a turn for the supernatural in its second season. Remember that? No, you probably had stopped watching by then, if you ever did in the first place.
I forgot that it was so metaphysical. It's ahead of its time, really.
The 9th season of Kid Cup took place in the mind of a coma patient that Kid Cup's evil twin shot in the neck, which has to be a nod to Roseanne's 9th season being a dream that Roseanne had come up with in her new career as a writer, which was very controversial at the time, and probably still is, but Roseanne is more controversial now anyway, for other reasons. And of course, there are evil twins aplenty in TV and films, enough for the subject to warrant a page in TV tropes. The sisters named Joseph Gordon-Levitt as one of their favorite guest stars on the show, who is a notable collaborator of Rian Johnson, aka Poker Face's creator, and lest we forget, also a murderer from season 1. The other favorite guest star was Tamara Dobson, who played the ghost of Kid Cup's great-great-grandmother in Kid Cup Civil War Christmas, who according to IMDb had stopped acting by the mid-80s, which would have made it hard for her to act in Kid Cup, but I get the vibe. Charlie gets a few good lines during all the mayhem. For example, when she's entertaining the theory that the fifth sister, Felicity, might be an imposter, she calls her Anastasia Felicity, presumably harking back to the 90s animated film Anastasia, where a Princess Anastasia lookalike is presented in order to get a reward. Among other great lines, Charlie remarks, "They got to stop feeding these girls after midnight," when she says that there is a fifth sister. This is of course an allusion to the Gremlins movie franchise, where under no circumstances people should feed the cute mogwais after midnight or they'll turn into gremlins. Sorry, spoiler alert for the Gremlins movie franchise. Should have said that at the beginning. But enough about Kid Cup. What has Charlie been up to since we last saw her? Just like in season 1, we get Charlie's theme, the music that we hear just before we're about to see our old friend Charlie in every episode. Charlie has had various short-lived gigs, it appears, one of which is in a parking lot with an attendant that would rather be reading his book instead of talking to a bored Charlie. Cookie, I think that's his name, is reading a novel by Erica Young called Fear of Flying, which was published in the 70s and had caused quite a sensation for its depiction of female desire and sexuality. It apparently coined the term zipless that more or less means one night stand, and which apparently is the reason why most of the covers of the book have zips on them. As Cookie notes, it was written around the time of second wave feminism. Charlie is reading what appears to be a somewhat obscure version of Charlie Mingus's autobiography, Beneath the Underdog. Charlie Mingus was a jazz musician and composer. I can see Charlie liking jazz, or there not being any other books around for her to read. One last bit. Charlie seems to have moved on from cigarette smoking to vaping. This was apparently at the behest of Natasha Lyonne's co-stars in the Netflix film His Three Daughters. Her sisters in that film, Carrie Coon and Elizabeth Olsen, convinced her to switch to vaping after she lost her voice after a day of yelling. According to Lyon, she's been vaping 9,000 vapes a day ever since, so it's been incredible. Finally, here's all the hats that Charlie wears in this episode. There's one shot that I think must have a meaning, but I don't get. The camera pans to this fresco in Norma's gigantic house in the beginning of the episode. Does it have a significance? I feel like it should. Let me know if you have figured it out. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that, make sure to like and don't forget to subscribe to catch my next videos about Poker Face Easter eggs as the season unfolds.